going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and in front of me I have the brand new iPad Pro with M2 processor, and in today's video we're going to unbox it, show you guys around, set it up, and also talk about some of the new features in Apple's new flagship tablet. So last year was one of the most exciting years for the iPad. We saw the integration of Apple Silicon in a tablet for the very first time, and with the amount of power that they've proven to deliver on their laptops, it was cool to see how the chip was able to integrate into a device with such a thin form factor. And that really brought through a lot of different questions of the iPad lineup when it comes to how the apps and the ecosystem is going to utilize that amount of power for anybody who's doing like everyday tasks, but also for a lot of high processing tasks, including like AR and VR, video and photo, as well as digital art. And these are aspects that I'm very excited about, specifically in the field of photo and video. If you guys want to stay tuned with all of the latest Apple unboxings as soon as they come out, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and leave a comment down below as to any questions you have of the iPad Pro M2. For example, if you want me to compare it to the iPad Pro M1, if you're trying to make a decision as to which generation to buy, just let me know if you have any questions and I'll cover that in my review. But here are some of the key features of Apple's new flagship iPad. The M2 processor features a 15% improvement in its 8-core CPU and a 35% improvement in power on its 10-core GPU, which is up from the 8-core CPU and 8-core GPU setup from last year. It is already an incremental percentage, but you also have to remember that the M1 processor is already extremely powerful, and it's still available in the 8 and 16GB unified memory configurations, with the 16GB one being offered at 1TB and up, and you can spec this iPad up to 2TB. It also features the same Thunderbolt port with USB 4, which is huge for anyone who is importing photo and video files, especially with that 2TB of internal storage. And the other improvement is that the camera is able to record in ProRes video for the first time, but the hardware is the same. For anyone who uses the Apple Pencil, one of the biggest changes is the addition of a hover feature, which adds a new dimension as to how you can interact with your tablet when it comes to using the Pencil. This is an API that is unlocked for developers to implement this feature to give you additional functionality, so it'll be interesting to go ahead and test it out and see how big of an impact it makes on day-to-day tasks. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and unbox this iPad, and in front of me, I have it in a 13-inch model. So let's go ahead and open up this iPad, and in front of me I have the 13-inch model that features 1TB of internal storage, and as I mentioned, you can actually upgrade it to 2TB, but with the unified memory, the 8GB one is the base, and the 16GB unified memory comes with the models that are 1TB and above as an option. So let's just lift up the box here. You can see they have a new design on the front here that is aligned with actually the iPad 10th generation, but here we have the iPad itself. And inside the box, you're also gonna find a braided USB Type-C cable along with the charging brick. So taking a look at the hardware itself, it is exactly the same as the previous generation, and all the changes are internal. Namely, the M2 processor is now 15% more powerful from a CPU performance and 35% more powerful from a GPU performance. And one of the biggest practical updates to that include the ability to use the hover function on the Apple Pencil, and also the ability to record ProRes video on the rear-facing camera. Even though that might not be a feature that everyone is going to use, for those who do decide to use it, having 2TB of internal storage really allows you to do that. And with the announcements of DaVinci Resolve making its way over to a tablet version, you can really do professional level of video editing on a tablet like this, and having that additional power thanks to the M2 chip and the ability to transcode video at that codec really turns this into a powerful machine as iPad OS continues to try to find ways to take advantage of these powerful processors that were initially found on the laptops. The M2 processor, of course, was announced with the MacBook Air earlier this year, and that has been a really good laptop that personally I would use as my daily laptop, but I already have the MacBook Pro 14-inch, which has been an incredible experience. But yeah, looking at the hardware, it is exactly the same from the outside, but you also have some other improvements when it comes to the speed and connectivity, including Wi-Fi 6E support. So let's just go ahead and turn this iPad on and set up for the first time. And talking about the hover feature, it is able to detect from about 12 millimeters away. So as you hover it over, the API has been enabled for developers to be able to implement that feature and allow you to do things such as previews. And I think with digital art, such as Procreate and all that, that is going to be very handy because you're able to see where you're going to be drawing. So let's just go ahead and select the language right here and the country. And I'm just going to do a really quick setup and show you guys what it looks like initially. And then of course, we're going to do a full review after testing out the hover features and whether or not it is useful based on the apps that I use, as well as which ones have been optimized for that. One new interesting change that was on the iPad 10th generation is that the camera is actually located on the landscape side, which is something that I think I actually like. And I wish the iPad Pro either had it on that landscape side or maybe had two cameras as maybe an improvement this year where it utilizes the one depending on the orientation that your iPad is set to. I just find that I do often cover the Face ID sensor when I'm holding on the iPad like this, or if I have it set up with the Magic Keyboard. So now that we have this iPad set up, I actually haven't had a 12.9-inch iPad Pro in quite a few years. And on the spec side of things, there are some differences between the 11-inch iPad Pro and the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. This right here has a Super Retina XDR display that features mini LED backlit technology at a 2732 by 2048 resolution with an SDR brightness of 600 nits and an XDR brightness of 1000 nits in full screen, peaking at 1600 nits for HDR content. So if you're looking for the best display possible, and if you're doing like video editing and stuff, or like photo editing, then I would say the 12.9-inch iPad is the one that you should check out to get the best of the best when it comes to display technology, featuring that mini LED tech. The 11-inch iPad does not have these features. It features the SDR at a 600 nit max brightness. So that pretty much wraps it up for our unboxing of the iPad Pro M2 for 2022, which is the flagship model and the 12.9-inch one here. If you guys want to see a video of like what it's like to edit in DaVinci Resolve, because I have actually switched over to DaVinci for part of my workflow, just make sure you go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. I'm really excited to go ahead and test this out coming from the iPad Pro M1. And I would say for most people out there, if you have an iPad Pro from like the last couple of years, you don't necessarily have to upgrade. But if you need these new features or you really rely on the iPad, then I'm sure some of the improvements will be noticeable in day-to-day usage. And I'm really excited to try apps out such as DaVinci Resolve because I've actually switched over to that partially from my video editing workflow in the past few years over on the computer. So thank you guys so much for watching this video of the brand new iPad Pro with an M2 processor for 2022. And as always, if you enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you'd like to see down in the comment section below. And I'll see you all in the next one.